children and adults. My name is Evgenia Generalova and I'm Communications and Knowledge Manager for Child Protection Hub based in Budapest with Terra dos Hommes. And could you please write to me in the chat box that you can hear me well? If you do. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for answering the poll as well. And I will now give a very brief overview of the platform in case for some of you it's the first time you are using Adobe Connect. Okay, Radestina, I can see you cannot hear us. I will let my colleague Judith to talk with you and see how we can help you. Let me tell you a couple of words about how the platform functions. So you see the chat where you can ask any questions or comments. Your microphones will be muted, so you cannot talk, and please do all communications in writing. Then please pay attention to the polls, like the one we had in the beginning. We will have a few more during the webinar. We also will have questions for you when we will ask you to answer in the chat. In case you lose us, in case you lose the sound, please make sure your speaker icon, which is on the top black bar, is green. You have to click on it if it's gray. When it's green, it should be fine. And also next to it, you can see an icon of a man with a raised hand on the same top black bar. You can use it to show your emotions or suggestions, like to ask us to speak louder, for example. You can test it and see what options there are available. Also, if by the result of the webinar you would like to receive a certificate from Child Hub confirming your attendance, please email us at info@childhub.org and request the certificate and we will provide it. And now I will give the floor to Katya Biziak, who is a coach and trainer, and she will introduce herself and she will start the presentation. Katya, the floor is yours. Katya, can you hear us?
Hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes, we can hear you, but we cannot see you.
Okay. Do you hear me and do you see me? Okay. Do you hear me also? Hello. Do you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Great. Some technical problems for the beginning. So my name is Katja Biziak. I'm coming from Slovenia. As Eugenia told you, I'm trainer and coach. My background is social pedagogy, and my company name is Peskovnik, which means sandbox, sand tray in English, because the slogan of the company is where learning is playing. So I use a lot of playfulness in my education because I believe that what we learn on symbolic level, we can then transfer to our personal or work environment. So I would like to share with you today some of the ideas how to work with children and adults. And so welcome to the playground. Are we in contact? Yes, okay, great. I'm used to work very interactive, so this is a challenge for me. which are groups I work with. In educational sector, this is kindergarten, primary schools, but mostly with teachers. In social sector, everything that has to do with child protection, youth organization, children's rights, or unprivileged groups. And I work also in business companies, mostly with companies which work on daily basis, which clients, that means they have everyday communication, problem solving with clients. I work with groups and individually, and I'm trained expressive art therapist, so that means I use a lot of art in my works. But I would like to know where you come from, so I'm asking Eugenia to put the poll to see where the participants are, from which field participants are coming from. Mhm. Okay. For now, we have more of you who work with children. Okay. Thank you very much for your answers. I see we are the spread group, but with a common focus. That means working with children or adults and working in the fields of, let's say, helping people. Okay, thank you. When you work with group or with individuals, the interactive or creative methods can be used in all parts of the session. So for beginning of the session, you can use them to make a start, like to getting to know each other or creating trust or connecting, and especially opening people, because we usually work with our heads. So these methods open us up to some new experience and new knowledge. And with some creative or game method, we can switch off the rational and defense mechanisms. They can be also very good introduction to the issue or to the problem. It involves us smoothly into the subject, and it helps us with expressing, because we don't need to find only words, but we can express it also in the other way. It's a very effective tool in problem solving, because it makes a shortcut to some innovative solutions. And it's an extremely good tool for trauma healing. For example, I don't remember if some of you clicked to work with refugees, but I would stress out that to do trauma healing, it's you can do this only if you're additionally trained as a therapist, or to have a deeper knowledge on the subject. And then this creative interactive methods are very useful also to conclude the session. It doesn't matter individual or with a group. So make a conclusion, make an evaluation, wrap up, to close the gestalt, what we were doing with the group, and that they take something home, which is not only again in our head, but maybe some word or some picture or something that reminds them also later after our session is finished. And why use creative methods at all? First, they are very engaging. People get very much involved. Also the adults. I try them also with companies, for example, IT or construction, where only technical men but because we all have a big child inside of us, we get engaged, and it brings down the barrier, and it's fun also. But the most important thing is then to do this transmission from the fun to work, because it's very experiential. We can have the experience on symbolic level. It's opening our head to think out of the box. It's connecting both sides of the brain. And it includes also the deeper aspects of our psyche, our unconscious. So a lot of material can come out. And we as trainer or coach or therapist should be able then to connect this with everyday reality of the person or the team or the child we work with. And it's also, for me, it's very important to switch from our hand and to work also with hands and our body, to include also the body, because I like very much this statement that we are not the head carrying the body, but we are body carrying the head. And in our body, usually a lot of emotion and ancient knowledge is kept inside. But in our society, we become so rational and so cognitive that we sometimes forget of different aspects of our beings. That's why these creative methods offer us non-rational approach to life and work issues, help us overcoming the rules and obstacles, and bring us to some other dimension. And what is very important to me, it can be a very powerful tool to bring us to insights. It's like a shortcut to insights which are important for our life. We can play a lot with these interactive tools because we can involve different modalities. For example, we start with picture, with drawing, and then we ask the client to add the movement or the sound, and then bring back to. So we can play and experiment, and when we include the body, as I said, a lot of different material can come out. It also involves these deeper levels of our psyche. That means subconscious and symbols. Here you have one picture of the unaccompanied minor from Syria who is in Slovenia as a refugee. And they were doing collage, what they would like in their life. And this boy, his name was Vrami, he put only one picture, the picture of the olive branch. And later he explained that the only thing he wants is peace. And he used the olive branch as a symbol of peace. So a lot of symbol and subconscious can come out through using artistic tools. It's a very good method also when you work with clients who have difficulties with expressions or because of the language or because of the trauma is so deep that he cannot even talk about it. It brings down the barriers of language because it's expressive. So I call it not only intercultural but overcultural method. And here you can see the picture of refugee children using different instruments, and they do some activities with not only playing but trying to show how they feel through the loudness of instruments and things like that. So as I said before, these methods connect our left side of the brain, which is rational, organized, with the right side of the brain, which is, I think in our society, a little bit put on the side. But this right part of the brain gives us creativity, gives us symbols, images, gives us intuition, brings out the intuition. It's much more holistic, and that's why it opens up the part of the iceberg which is below the water. As we know, we function with the 20% of the, in everyday reality, we function with 20% of our rational conscious mind, but the other 80% is hidden under. Here are all our values, views of life, and this influences our cognitive part, our behavior, how we show ourselves as well, although we don't usually have the direct access to it. And with this kind of methods, we go a little bit deeper, and then we bring this back to the consciousness. So the cycle of the non-rational thinking is that we go through to the symbolic part with these interactive tools. We include imagination, intuition, ideas. Here we are talking about symbolic language. And then when we make a transition from the symbolic back to rational, a lot of times the insights come out. We understand deeper what our problem is about. We find better ways how to find solution. That's why I said it's a short way to insights or to problem solving or to deeper understanding where we are and where we want to go. There is a lot of Jung's knowledge in all these things, because you know that Jung included this collective unconsciousness, which is common to all of us, and archetypes and symbols. So a lot of symbols, doesn't matter from which culture you come from, symbols have similar meaning, and it's connecting us. And symbols are very powerful because they speak their own language. Of course, we should always check with a client what the symbol means for him, but through symbolic language we can get a lot of information about what's happening with the child or with the client we are working with. And what is the most important is that the person who does the artwork or uses these methods have a strong personal experience. So it means it's not just talking about something, but the process starts already when he's doing it. Sometimes people already start to cry when they are doing something, or a lot of emotions come out, and you as a therapist or a coach or trainer, you can observe how the person is preparing his artwork, and you can get also information about and kind of diagnostics through this. And we will go later into more details about that. So when you want to use these interactive creative tools, you can use really a lot of things. I sometimes tell that you can use everything that you find in your environment. I'm picking magazines from everywhere I go, the free magazines for the pictures. I'm collecting materials. I have a big box of creative tools, but I collect from everything I found, and I think it could be useful. So you can use the newspapers, pictures, words, Lego blocks, clay, plastilina, of course, all kind of creative materials, papers, colors, materials from nature. If you work in the nature, you can tell the people to go to find something that represents their issue in the nature. So here is really a big pool of possibilities. And the more you start to play with it, the more you start to enjoy it, because, as I said at the beginning, welcome to the playground. So everything can be a tool on your playground. I also produce some kind of games which help me to work with children and adults. Here are, for example, the cubes. On one it says I wish, and on the other one it says without fear. So this is for the beginning, like I said, to open the person. They throw a dice and they answer to both dice, and they answer on combination of the words. So for example, you can answer for yourself now what you would wish without fear, or what you would dare passionately, or what you would do today. Um, so to engage you in start thinking of what do you want, what do you want to do, what is your issue. And the other game like this is cards with words. So this can be used at the beginning of the session, like to people to tell how they feel, or at the end of the session what they would like to take with them, or what they would like to give to the other. So it's just here we have, for example, will, heart, people, learning, happiness, wandering, different kind of words which help people with associative thinking, and which involves them into thinking about themselves and the problem. Then we have different kind of pictures. I'm using magazines a lot and pictures from the magazines, but here I put a picture of the game Dixit. I don't know if you if you know this game, you can try to Google it. It's a very interesting game which all children and adults like to play. There's a lot of pictures which are a little bit great. I see you like the Dixit game. Usually you play it with that somebody gives association on one picture and the others then find a similar association. But you can use it also, like I said, at the beginning of the session. What is the challenge the person or the group is facing? Find a picture which is reminding you on the issue. What is the problem? What you would like to achieve? So here the symbols, the pictures start to pop up and start to open people's imagination and ideas about the subject. Similar game is with cubes, and we will try to do it now. I see you're already sharing the board games. Great. I only pick for this webinar some of them. Of course, as I said, the pool of these tools is amazingly big. So maybe we can have a group and share all the tools we have. So these are like story cubes or imagine dice. So all the cubes have different pictures on all sides. And one option is that you throw a few of the cubes and you encourage a child to tell a story. Or similar, that he picks some pictures that he likes and he tells something about himself or the problem he has. So it's a very powerful tool to encourage children to talk about whatever you would like to encourage him to talk. And now I have next pool for you. So from these pictures you have here, please choose without thinking too much your favorite one, the which one attracts you the most, the which one you would choose if you have to choose only one. Nobody wants to choose the telephone. Some of you also answering. Great. Okay, we have, for now, the tree is the winner and the sheep is following. Sad and happy face. Somebody commented we are always on the telephone, so we don't want to choose the telephone. Okay, so we can find symbolic meaning to all of these pictures. I will share with you some of them, but when we work with client, with a child or with an adult, we have to check what the symbol means for them, to ask why they choose it, what it means for them, how they can find the connection with their between the symbol and their life. So it's very very important that we don't put the words to the client's mouth, because symbol can mean something completely different for a person. But if we check the tree was the most popular. 40% of you said the tree is the picture that attracts you the most. Tree is a very powerful symbol. It can represent a life, strength, protection, which is interesting because most of you work in child protection. Nurturing, stability. So it can, of course, if you would work with child, you can ask him then to draw a tree. And you probably know these basics of drawing, that you should check then the roots, which is like stability, how the child is rooted in his life. Does the tree has the branches? What is the trunk? So then you can observe also from the picture of the tree what the child is telling about himself. Second most popular thing was sheep. Sheep is a symbol for innocence, for the child aspect of ourselves, of our psyche. It could also represent vulnerability, or it can be also the symbol belonging or not belonging to the group. So if a child chooses this picture, we should go then talk about what this represents for him. How does he feel in the classroom, in the community where he belongs? And as I said, the pictures are just the thing to open the person to go deeper into the subject. And the smiley face was on the third place. The smiley face and the masks, the both masks, sad and happy mask, they usually represent emotions. So this is the shortcut to people, to children, to tell how they feel. So you can see you can cut smileys and give them smileys to show you how they feel, because sometimes it's easier to show how you feel than to express how you really feel. Would you like some more explanation on some other symbol? This you have to type. Yes? Dice. Dice can be a symbol, but you have to check with yourself if this is relevant for you or not. Because I'm not you, I cannot tell you what it means for you. Dice can be a symbol of taking risk, playing with the fate, daring, taking the game of chance, like being able to risk, not to predict everything. So to be brave, maybe. Does it resonate with you, the person who wrote the dice? A little bit. Okay, that's why I'm saying it's not always. You have to check with the person if the symbolic meaning works for the person. Okay, thank you. So let's go on to different kind of materials. Here you have different blocks, but you can use Lego blocks, for example, or any kind of stones, for example, in the nature, to build and rebuild. That means make a problem, your problem, or make a story of your life, or make who you are from some material, then explain what it means, and then how you would like to change it. The person has the meaning, the potential on the symbolic level to change what they want in their life. And it can be very powerful to do this on the symbolic level and then find a way how to do it in your real life. So this is for building and rebuilding, and the other pictures of materials, different kind of clay, plastilina, modeling materials are the same for shaping and reshaping. So it means like to do a sculpture, and to these are just different materials, to do a sculpture which represents something, and then you can reshape it how you would like it to be. And I'm sure some of you know of the scent ray therapy, which is again very useful for children. In the picture you see behind a lot of small miniatures, and then is a tray with sand. And we ask children to take the miniatures they like and to start to play with them in the sand. And because child starts to play, he starts to talk about issues during playing. So he's not telling about the problem cognitive rationally, but he's playing, and in this material with playing, a lot of things can come out. So you can see in this picture. What would you say is the subject of this picture? Or what feeling the picture give you? So I guess the picture doesn't need a lot of comment. But the good thing about this is that we can, you said terror, war, tension, conflict. It's also when we see it, it gives us like some unpleasant feeling. So the good thing about this playground is superheroes. There's the solution. There's the potential for solution. We can ask the child to include the superheroes to solve this situation he has on the playground. And then we can connect the superheroes with him, which strength the superhero has, which also the child has. So we make this symbolic bridge from the symbolic game to his life. And it's very empowering. Somebody is asking, these tools are one-on-one work, how we can use this in the group. That each one takes one miniature and they put them together and they start to play with them. And then, for example, we ask them, okay, for example, we ask, what is the situation, I don't know, in your company or in your classroom? Put the miniatures, and then we ask them how it would like to be, and then together the group together reorganizes the thing on the sand the way they would like it to be. It's similar with the group, but the group should be small. It should, I mean, maximum to 10, for example, that they can all participate to have a joint work. Okay, and now if we go into a little bit more detailed explanation, here you have, this is adults artwork on the subject, my work problem. It's a person who works with people, so our profile, and this is how this person represented her work problem in the symbolic artistic way. So let me tell you a little bit what you can observe in the artwork, and then I will invite you to tell me what you see in this. I see a lot of you are typing. Shall I wait for you? Aha, this is still for. Aha, you're already commenting on the picture. Okay, let's do it then. What do you see in this picture? Chaos, too many things at one, phone calls, chaos, confusion, too much black. Uncertainty, black. Stress, telephone. Ah, orange ball, thanks, Milena. Flower. Okay, so you see that you noticed some things. So when we look at the artwork, we can see some things that are dominant. The overall impression is confusion, right? The person had a big confusion inside herself with the work issue, and this is how she represented it on this artwork. Second, you said telephones. There is some things that are dominating in the artwork, and these are these big black telephones. And as you probably guessed, she wanted to express that there is too much of this communication and telephones and organizing, and that this represents the stress. Somebody noticed the orange ball in the center. So the orange ball is actually her. She put herself in the center as the orange ball. So you can observe also what kind of material the person used. She used for herself a soft, very soft orange ball. Or you can watch the symbol of the color. Orange is a bright light energy color, and the material is soft. And this person, she's very soft, very people's orientated, and because she has to do so much organization, she feels stressed out. Somebody noticed the flower. Is the flower, this is something that is on the floor outside of the telephones. I guess you considered this as a flower. So yes, okay. So these are actually beneficiaries she works with. These are the children she works with. And as you can see, the children are outside of the artwork. And there is a connection with her job, but this connection is cut. And the children are the same soft balls as her, but smaller. And it's she used the same materials for the thing where her heart is, where she is actually in the children, but all these telephones and trash are keeping her away away from, and all other things or organizational are more important than the children, what is her work. So you see that without being a rocket scientist, you can see a lot of things. So when you watch at the artwork of somebody, also the children, you can observe these things that you observe also now, already now. Colors, symbolic meaning of colors, interactions, details, materials, positioning, what they put in the center, top, bottom, how is it, like I said, what is big, what is small. Here the beneficiaries were small, the telephones were big, so you can see this, what is big, what is small. And then you can go to work with the person, that the person works with artwork, so not with her problem directly, but with artwork. And you ask the person, for example, here you have now some methods, what you can do with it. You can ask first the client to observe and reflect, like we did now. So what you see in that, but you ask the client, okay, which part of the art is painful for you, which touches you the most, where are you? Then you ask the client to become an artwork. Okay, I'm Katya's artwork, and the artwork starts to tell what is happening. Or we ask them to play like a role play, to change roles. So I say to my artwork, you are my work problem, and I'm sad that this is like this. And my artwork says to me back. So you make like a dialogue between a client and an artwork. Then we can ask the client to have the conversation between the different parts. For example, what would the orange ball say to the small balls? What would the telephone say to the orange ball? Or what would all this orange ball say to all this trash around her? So we can involve different parts of the artwork to have the conversation. Then we can upgrade, like I said at the beginning, to change. It depends what is close to the person. But as I said before, sometimes children, it's easier to involve some other modalities. For example, dance it, make a sound, play it on the instrument, add voice to it, or more sophisticated methods, make a story, then take words that associate it with you and make a poem. We have different possibilities to play with that. And if we want to bring them to like I said, insights, we ask the person to change the artwork. So to do it differently, how to express their desires, needs. So we ask them, what would you need? How would you like your situation to be? And the person can do it on the artwork itself. Unfortunately, I don't have this person's artwork, how it was at the beginning, at the end, but I can tell you. She hid the telephones, she folded it under, she cleaned this trash, put the trash aside. She bring the small balls around the orange balls, the orange ball, and the artwork looked completely different at the end, and she felt a great relief when she did this. She actually used the words that she cleaned the trash, and at the end she made like a strategy how she will clean the trash in her real work situation in order to get this flower, these children back on the playground more, what was very important for her. So what is important here is that the change inside the person, the client, happens on the symbolic level. And then our role is to transfer this back to the rational and cognitive, to person to understand what she should do in her real life. I see the time is flying quite fast, so let me give you just very briefly, very shortly, some pictures about. Are you still with me, by the way? Yes. Okay, great. Dada, I'm happy. Okay, just briefly, few pictures to give you ideas for the different settings. This is like individual coaching with the help of the. You can see this girl had a family problem, but again she has a big ball of which is representing herself in the middle. So a lot of times people putting themselves in the middle. I tried it in strictly business environments. This was a conference on the subject of modern leader. So this is one of the representations how the modern leader in the business world should look like. I will not go into the details, but it works also with people with suits and ties. And this is another pharmaceutical company. This is their company totem, what they would like to be. Okay, Elena, just give me 2 minutes to finish and we will get back to your questions. Is that okay? This is also the company, they had to make the hairdresser salon with Lego blocks. So the interesting thing is that the owner is sitting in the car outside, so he's not part of the of the thing. And here the person who's leader's right hand, she's sitting on the top with an axe in her hand. So symbolic, very symbolic representation of the company. And this is some movement activities with business company, or in kindergarten, problem solving. The subject was problem solving. These are kindergarten teachers. Then we had, we didn't talk about role play with puppets, but to put the problem to the puppet, it's similar like putting things to the artwork. So we make a distance between ourselves and the object which is representing us. So it's easier to resolve conflict with puppets, for example, than from in person. This is some work with Adolescent. This is a 14-year-old girl who make a collage. She didn't know which school to choose, which high school to choose. She was in big dilemma, so we made a collage. We used magazines, and you can see from the picture and the structure how much of things were boiling inside this girl. And when I asked her which picture touches her the most, it was this picture black with a man, like man on the cross. She felt like that she will die if she will choose the wrong school. But as you can see, she's very creative, and she's now in the art school, so, and she feels very happy. So it was helpful. This is a collage from working with gay organization. And this one is the one for working with unaccompanied minors, with refugees. We, as I said before, we asked them what they would like to be, what they would like, what they wish for. And this boy said that he would like to be a journalist to report on the war in Syria. So the great thing was that we enabled then, we contacted the television and we managed for him to go to the television to have the experience. So it was very important. For example, people who worked with him didn't know before for this wish of his. And through the pictures, it was much easier for him to express. Okay, that were some examples, and now it's time for your comments, experience, questions, whatever. It's as I said, it's a wide field. I gave you just the brief ideas. So maybe I can get back to Yelena's question. Just a second. For centrate therapy education, I'm not sure. I'm not officially trained in centrate therapy. But I know for creative expressive art training going on in Croatia, in Slovenia, where you get also brief training on centrate therapy. And maybe, Elena, we can stay in the contact. We can stay in the contact later for more information. Okay, somebody would like me to return to the slides, what to observe on artwork. Give me just a second. This one. Would you like, Eva, would you like to ask something? No? Okay. As you know, you will get the presentation, and as I said, we can also be in contact then for some further information. How are the materials selected? As I said, go to the art shop and just buy what brings you your attention. It's good to have colors, different kind of, from wooden to especially good to have this like tempera, or not pastels, but because it's, or finger paintings, it's also very good. The children can use finger paint colors. Different straws, ropes, buttons, pearls, this plastic, different kind of papers that you can. I'm also collecting, things from rolls from the toilet paper, or boxes, or as I said, whatever you find, because then when you give this big box to children or clients, they find what is interesting for them, and thank you, acrylic colors, yeah. And you can also send them outside to find in the nature, and they will bring branches, they will bring stones, they will take flowers. Really, you don't need to restrain yourself from what to use. I'm sorry, it's very difficult for me to follow all this. Questions. Is it common that children or adults refuse to do artwork or similar? I have to say that usually they love it. Some adults at the beginning, they look a little bit strange, but I never use artwork in the first session with adults. I start with these words or cubes or pictures or magazines. And because sometimes they have like the defense mechanism that they are not artists. You don't have to be artist. It's something completely different. But I never throw the group I work for the first time directly into that. But children love it. You can do this with children without hesitation. Let me see some more questions. If I can share any documents on this, yes, I can find and I can send it, like some literatures or web pages, or yes, I can do that. Okay. How do? Okay, thank you, Rosella, for your question. That's why I said at the beginning that if you do the artwork therapy, you should be trained. Because, as you said, it opens traumatizing memories, and if you're not trained to bring this to some conclusion or to close it in a proper way, it's better not to open it. So we should be careful about how deep to go and with which groups uh, to work. But you can use it, as I said, as I told you, for these unaccompanied minors, what you would like to achieve, where you would like to go. You know, something positive, not what is your biggest problem, or something. Yeah. Did I answer? Hmm. You're welcome. So for those who are living or who will be living, I would just like to say one more last thing, but then I can stay here with those who would like to maybe ask some more questions. So I would like to share with you that creative methods do work. They work with children and adults. So be brave, jump in the river, and just do it. It's fun, it's nice, and it's also very rewarding. And you have my email under for some more information. Yes, most of all of you like it. I think all of you liked it. You would like to try it, but you would need some more information. Actually, yes, it's good to have a training on that, and then you need a lot of practice to do it. You cannot just because behind there's knowledge of Gestalt, object relationships, um, Jungian. There's a lot of psychology behind, so you can use it like on the superficial level to get engaged. But as I said, for deeper psychological trauma healing work, you should be trained. So thank you very much for your attention. And I would love to come to Macedonia or wherever else. So let's be in contact. Thank you very much also for your active participation, and wishing you all the best with working with your groups, and hope to see you and meet you in person soon, because this internet is a little bit frustrating for me. I'm much better in the real work.
Thank you very much, Katya. It was very interesting. We enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much to all the participants for all your active participation. I'm putting the link now in the chat to the website where you can have a look at our future planned webinars. And also you will find the recording of this webinar there and the resources that Katya will provide. And you see the poll on the screen to evaluate the webinar, please. And the room will stay open for a while, so in case you have any other questions or comments, please feel free to use the chat box. Thank you very much and have a nice afternoon.